Okay, welcome to you, Libra. This is your report for you. This is Tarot Illumination. That's you, Libra. And this is your general report for November 2017. You've done this before, I'm sure. You know the drill. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Squish it together and rewrite the whole story to suit yourself. Reinterpret as needed. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles. Cards are already well shuffled. We're just going to the last second so that you're a witness. Then we'll cut and do your spread, okay? Pretty straightforward. We're not going to do a lot of preamble anymore. You probably noticed there's some light coming in from the blinds. And it's quite lovely here. I don't know how this was going to show on the screen, but I'll make sure that you see the cards anyway, okay? So here we go. Oh, all right, Libra, by the way, you just coming into October or coming into November, you've come out of the recent Libra phase. So you're going deeper now, okay? Here we go. This is going to be your heart energy, right at the very core center, okay? The absolute core of you. Not your intellect, not your thoughts, perceptions, not your worries, not your thrills, not your problems, nothing. This is just the pulsing heart core of you, okay? Over here is legacy energy. That's what I like to call it. Let's call it your baggage, your past, some history, some, let's just say, momentum that you've already built up coming into this time period. And then over here we have the energy of the perpetual now. As you move through this time period that we call November here on Earth. Okay, and so as you move through the perpetual now, you're always there. Of course, there's the past and there's the future, but you are living in the now, whether you like it or know it or not. So while you're in the now, again, like it or know it or not, you're making decisions. And as we all know, Libra, decisions are things that, you'd rather, let's say, defer. In other words, let's keep this thing working, let's keep that working, let's balance things out so that it's effectively like you don't have to make decisions, okay? But nevertheless, Libra, just like the rest of us, you have to make decisions too, moving forward with your life and the momentum in this heart spread. You'll see in a moment. So this would be the energy of the decisions moving forward. And of course, with decisions, you're always facing into the unknown, whether it's a tiny decision. Are you going to have strawberry jam or marmalade on your toast? It's a decision. Or are you going to file bankruptcy or not? That's a big decision. It's just another decision. Here's another one. This would be the energy of how are you going to do that, making your decisions moving forward in a way that's most healthy for you? Which is ultimately best for everybody. In other words, this is the most loving way to be as you move through. And this would be the energy of what arrives kind of in your lap as a consequence of making decisions while you go through this time period. Now, if you think that life is out there and it happens to you, then this might feel like fate. If you understand, like through the laws of attraction and laws of nature, laws of karma, laws of physics, that you are essentially a creator of your own reality, then this would feel more like your own energy coming to you. Okay, and over here, this would be the feel of hopes and dreams, or joys and sorrows, or what if, wow, yes, or what if, oh no, oh dear. Depending on the decisions that you make, and you start to, let's say, allow for your projections or imaginings to start to take root in your mind. What if it all works out? What if it doesn't work out according to your decisions? And this would be like the momentum, okay? So going forward, and under here we have the weather. These are prevailing conditions, okay? It doesn't own you. You own the weather. You're going to make the best of it, whatever it is. Whether you're in tornadoes, hurricanes, sweet, calm, balmy days, cold, blustery weather, whatever it is, and rain or just fog or whatever, make the best of it. So with the Page of Wands here, to me it feels like it's an indication where you are ripe for, let's say, tapping into your future, seeing new opportunities, new beginnings, and in ways that let's just admit it, where you might not have, a full idea of exactly where you're going or how you're going to do it. But in a way, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that you're poised and that you're ready and the opportunity is there. And the environment is very conducive for you to take steps. Take steps into your future, bold, courageous steps on the understanding that you really don't have like a full toolkit at hand as though you were a highly experienced mountain climber. In other words, like it's like being in training, so to speak. All right, let's have a look. And allowing an understanding that you might be a little bit of a novice in your new life unfolding. Let's have a look here. What's going on at the heart center? Okay, with the Six of Pentacles here. Can you see that clearly? Okay, good. That's the Six of Pentacles. My feeling for you, Libra, is that deep at the calm heart center of yourself is an awakening that things are coming into harmony, things are coming into balance in ways that are probably long overdue. And if they are not coming into balance, then it's the feeling deep down in your heart that it is time to bring things into balance and harmony, but not just in terms of a wish or an ambition or a concept, but in terms of your day-to-day reality. In other words, coming into balance with the energy of giving and receiving. In other words, be loving, be loved. Understanding that you are loving and that you are loved. Understanding that you are worthy and deserving and open to receive, and that you are ready, willing, and able to receive. Okay, it's a good thing. And it's about mutual exchange, mutual appreciation as well. Understanding that as you sow, so shall you reap. That kind of energy. And sometimes it's really, really, really nice for you, Libra. Can you even see the tiny little scale there? Can you see that? You could even say that that's you. Um, like functioning and living in a way that's very harmonious with yourself, where you're very, very, very good at bringing harmony into situations, where you can see harmony unfolding, where you realize that, wow, maybe you sowed things that weren't so harmonious and you see the lack of harmony returning, or when you see things that you did that were very harmonious and you see the gifts returning. It's very, very satisfying to understand how the laws of nature are so pure and simple and exact, and then to see that coming back to you, understanding that this is kind of your core nature anyway. And like if there are times when you need to receive, then you receive. If there are times when you need to be generous and kind to others, then that has to happen too, without any conditions. This is very unconditional, okay? So there's no hoarding of your resources here. There's no stashing things away. Sometimes you need to give, sometimes you need to receive. And it's nice to know that and understand that in your heart, not just a concept. So you might be feeling it and sensing it like, wow, your reality is coming home to roost, so to speak. Let's put it that way. Your the consequences of your life are starting to show up in ways that are just exactly right. In other words, you could sit back and think, wow, everything's exactly as it should be because, well, if this isn't working out, well, gosh, no wonder. Because of decisions that you may have made or not. Or if this is working out really well, no wonder. It's because you were a participant making decisions in your own life. So what are you bringing in with you from all of this? Well, you might feel as though you've done pretty well already, with the six of wands here, and you might be feeling like you're in a place where you're highly appreciated and highly valued. And also it could indicate that you've got a pretty good opinion of yourself right now. Okay, I'm not talking about total like egomania berserk. I am just like you know Zeus, but it's on the understanding of like, wow, I'm not doing too bad. People get me, people dig me. I'm doing a pretty good job, and I don't mind saying so myself. Thank you very, very much. So that's good in some ways. It's really, really good to know that, let's say, your team, your people have got your back, that you are loving and that you are loved. And so that's kind of cool to bring in with you. Let's have a look at the ever-present now, moving through this time period. Oh, what I was going to say, also with this Six of Wands here, it could be an indication where you actually are seeing signs and evidence of your worth to yourself and your worth to others. in a way that's physically evident. In other words, somebody could come up to you and give you a big hug on the shoulder and say, wow, I'm so glad I know you. I'm so glad you're in my life. And the same thing, it's like you could be the person who does that and says, man, I'm so glad I've known you and I've had you in my life, and I really appreciate you. Okay. So that's a very nice energy to have bringing into this period, understanding your value, understanding your worth, because the sun in the November period would be moving through your second house anyway of value and self-worth and values uh, in very tangible ways. Let's have a look at the ever-present now. However, let's just say, and all of this is great in its own way, and that's wonderful, but we do have to allow that there's a high degree of innocence and naivety here in some ways, in which, like, your circumstances and environment might be showing you that, everything's just exactly as it should be with yourself, and that's good. However, it's almost like there's also an awareness that there's a lot going on that you don't really understand. And that's perfectly okay, because we're all of us in the same boat to some degree, and we're always learning as we grow and evolve. And so it could also come as a kind of almost, not as a shock, but kind of a almost like a disturbing awareness that you have these two highly contradictory energies happening inside you simultaneously. That's the energy of ambivalence. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it sounds very innocuous, but ambivalence is an incredibly hard energy to understand and balance and carry. It's the energy of carrying two highly contradictory, opposing energies inside oneself at the same time. And it's like being like a president of something or a high level politician or a judge where uh, having to make really important decisions where if you decide this way, it's going to have dire consequences on someone else, but good for them. And if you make a decision this way, it's going to have dire consequences for them, but good consequences for them. So you're kind of in a double bind. And that could be very, very, very unsettling for Libras, because Libras, you like everything to be in balance. You like everything to be harmonious, where people don't so that the last thing anybody has to endure is the energy of ambivalence, especially for yourself. So if you're in a situation where you're realizing like all the good aspects of yourself in your life, and you're also discovering like the frailties and the innocence that is going on as well, those are two highly contradictory energies, which could put you in a state of vertigo, which is almost like the feeling of being on the top of a very tall building going up through an elevator, which feels sort of normal-ish, and then you get out to the top floor and you look around and you realize, oh no, and you get that oh whoa feeling. What's actually going on here in my life? Whoa, whoa. And you realize like all your normal ways of taking bearings have changed, and they are changing probably in a way to where there's no going back, because this is a very big card, the moon, and it's a major arcana. So it might feel very fated, like this energy of swirling ambivalence is happening without any of your say so. And so that means having to learn and adapt and grow as you go along in a way that can really, really trigger vertigo. So leaving you in a position where, well, what am I supposed to do now? I'm in Libra. I can normally handle all this balance, but it leaves you disoriented as you go through the month, where you realize, gosh, I really do have more to learn, because all your normal, let's say bearings that you would use to get balance and perspective have gone. Normally, when we get balance from the outside world, we use our eyes and ears and senses, mostly, from our close proximity. But when you're looking over something from a great perspective and distance, like way up in a place you've never been before, your brain can really struggle to recalibrate, and it's really disorienting. So if you're feeling kind of vertigo and fear, deep, deep fear, but it has almost no words for it, that would be understandable. If you're feeling a sense of vertigo where you don't really know what to do except trust your subconscious, or just pray and hope that there's new bearings out there that you will understand one day, that's okay too. So if there's a little bit of fear, like deep rumblings of fear moving through your body right now, that's okay. That would be perfectly normal. Okay. So how are you going to make, you have to make decisions day to day anyway. So what are we looking at? Okay, with the Hierophant here, my feeling is that it's almost like whether you like it or know it or not, Libra, it's almost like, let's just call it fate. Two huge, uh, big, powerful cards here is kind of like squeezing you very gently into a situation where you're, like it or not, you're going to have to rewrite the code of your life, see everything from whole new perspectives in a way that you kind of can't go back. In other words, you're past the point of no return. If you're on a high wire going between two skyscrapers and you're balancing your way through it, but you're already past the halfway mark. There's no point in turning around going back if you get scared. It's easier and safer and smarter to keep going, even though facing forward can be very scary to some degree. So what happens is it means you have no option except to recalibrate and make very important new decisions and to get new perspectives about how the code of life is actually unfolding for you uh, in the near future, to the point where, wait a minute, I already thought I figured it all out. And then going through November, you start to realize I have to recalibrate all over again because I obviously realized that I didn't have it all figured out. And so it could feel as though you're being pushed to rewrite the code of your life, one decision at a time. How can you do that safely and effectively? Okay, by just, gosh, look at this, Libra. It's like by allowing it to happen. You have to remember also, Libra, you just came out of this really intense October phase with the new moon Libra and the full moon Libra and things like that, which could have been very disorienting for you. Some parts of it could be just glorious, and other parts just totally disorienting. And so you have no option. It's almost like you're being squashed and squeezed to a point where you have no option except to take charge of this or not. There's no question about or not. You have to do it. So you're going to do it because with the Chariot energy here, can you see the Chariot there? It's the decision, knowing deep down in your core heart that you have to succeed and that you will succeed and you will make it happen. Let's say in your situation, by taking these deep subconscious rumblings of ambivalence over here and melding that with your older, let's say, more traditional understandings about how energy and balance occurs in life and relationships, and somehow or other, decision by decision, recalibrating everything from scratch into a new order, a new way of being that you have never actually known before. So that's kind of a tough call, but it means you're going to do it because you have to do it. You will succeed because you have to. It means taking all those energies and squashing them into one thing over which you are the driver, you are the owner, not anybody else or not anything else, only you. Okay, so where does that take us? Okay, it takes us to a revelation. I feel this is a revelation of all the things. Do you see the little Ten of Swords here? It's like, to me, it feels like this is overdue. It feels like this is long, long overdue. Libra, I don't know why. I don't know who you are or who is watching this, but it feels to me like this is like a profound awakening that there is a lot of stuff that is buried or that has been buried to do with self-undoing, to do with, let's just say, living through facades of life, living through pain and sufferings in life, living through unacceptable, let's say, concepts, attitudes, and beliefs that being a kind, sweet, harmonious Libra, you have been willing to tolerate for long periods of time, where in some way or another you have been a pincushion, not only to yourself, but to other people, to the point where you have brought pain and suffering upon yourself that's not really yours, or that's not appropriate, that's unhealthy. And that might have happened to you, and you might have also delivered that to others unwittingly as well, in order to just accommodate your pre-existing ways of reaching harmony and balance that already worked well enough for you. But those are becoming redundant and obsolete, whether you like it or know it or not. So that's a bit of a problem for Libra, because then what it means is all this stuff becomes exposed. And of course, with Terra Lumination, we're all about the healing. And of course, with Jupiter in Scorpio right now, it's all about this amazing opportunity for deep soul healing, vibrational energy healing. So this is actually good news. From my perspective as your reader, Libra, this is really great that this comes to the surface as a result of all of this. So it's a realization that this is no longer acceptable. You just can't keep living like this anymore. You have to recalibrate. You have to find new perspectives, a new code of life that works, that's a better, improved version of whatever you've known before. And you have to take it and own it and continue forward with that new, improved code of life, decision by decision by decision, which is typically a very uncomfortable, unwelcome process for Libra, because you would be much happier if you could just stay in this mode of existence, which seems to have worked so well for so long. Okay, but it's kind of done. It's over. And it's on the understanding over the long term. I'm thinking like a year. I don't know why I'm saying that, but it feels like a year. It's coming to a realization where, yeah, this is over. This is redundant. The Libra that you've known is becoming obsolete, and whatever you've had to endure or put up with, or whatever anyone else has had to endure and put up with because of you, it's no longer acceptable, because new horizons are unfolding, whether you like it or know it or not. There is no going back. Okay, Libra? So let's have a look. Nothing good or bad about that. I'm just reading the story as I feel it, and you're Libra. You can reinterpret however you want so that it works for you. Let's have a look. Over here, knowing that really, really important decisions are being made that are kind of above and beyond your own like paradigms of what works, where it's like Libra is now having to come into alignment with higher codes of being, like universal truths, universal laws, universal uh, understandings that apply to everybody, not just to what works in Libra life right now. So it's really, these are big decisions that are being made. So and when you make decisions, there's always a sense of fear. What if it doesn't work? Or a sense of joy, like, wow, what if this works? So this would be over here. And what have you got? See? The Magician. Libra, I think this is a lot to do with the recent, that big Uranus opposition that's happening to Libras in general right now, where Uranus is still in Aries, and it's going to be there for another 4 or 5 months. It's putting intense pressure on you, Libra, to change. Radical changes, inescapable, irreversible changes, which may be very, very unsettling, which may take you way out above and beyond your comfort zone, but there's kind of no going back. However, deep, deep in your heart, you know there's a balancing and reckoning going on. And by making decisions judiciously, one at a time, there is the hope and the joy that, wow, if this actually works, look what can happen. You can actually kind of come into your own power, where you can have a chance to manifest a new life in a world that would be more suitable and more appropriate for you, for the newly evolving Libra that is happening right now. So let's think fairly long term with this reading, not just November. Let's just say this has a little bit of impetus leading through, like a sort of a theme, especially because this is all happening right now with the Jupiter and Scorpio thing. So it could mean like, wow, I have a real chance to like almost like start from scratch and do things properly this time. But also, of course, it's the fear, like, what if it doesn't work? Am I just going to lose all my existing sense of power and structure and dynamics? And all is my toolkit going to become obsolete? You know, uh, we do outgrow our lives. We do outgrow parts of ourselves. We outgrow environments. We outgrow relationships, situations, homes, families, attitudes, codes of life, codes of being, as we evolve and grow into newer, higher standards. Okay. And so there's kind of a big, there's a lot at stake here for you, Libra. Can you see how much there is at stake here? Like, again, it's like no going back. You're going to make the decisions that you have to make. It's just that they're kind of profound and it's going to be kind of life changing. And it's going to happen incrementally. What I would say, like step by step by step by step by step by tiny step. Okay, let's have a look. So, where does this take us? Let's have a look. I'm on your team, Libra. Okay, don't you worry. Okay, what it could do is take you into a point where, as you move through this phase here, I'm going to go back to the moon card here, where, like, what feels to me like these external energies are what, because these are such huge cards here, Magician, Chariot, Hierophant, and Moon. It feels to me where, if we go back to this card, you've come so far, okay, and things have been okay up to a point, but realizing if you go to close examination, if you think of that as two big skyscrapers and you're one of those crazy nutty people who decided like the only way to move forward in life is put a wire across there, shoot it over there, hook it onto the building, and then pull it tight, and then you start crossing over to your new life. And you think, wow, it's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. You go past the point of no return. You realize, oh my gosh, it's much scarier and harder to reboot a new life than I ever thought. But there's no going back. So you go forward. However, there is you start to meet yourself. You start to meet the core of yourself at those moments in time where there is no one else to turn to except yourself. And that's what I'm sensing here, where you kind of reach that maximum point of like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make it? How am I going to keep going? What actually happens here? Because you've never been in this situation before. So what happens with the Five of Swords here, it's like you meet yourself. You meet your own self-undoing. You meet how you have always made the decisions to do what has to be done in the most right and noble way possible. And that's wonderful. But some of your old patterns are really starting to become unglued and unviable and not working anymore, to the point where you doubt yourself, where you're starting to battle with yourself. But with the Five of Swords, it's kind of the energy of futility. So in other words, there's no point in expending energy questioning and doubting yourself and wrestling with yourself, or trying to, like, let's say, go back, because it would take so much energy just to turn around and reverse and go back. And where going back isn't going to take you to wherever you were before, because everyone else is changing and evolving too. So there's no point in going back. So you have to end up moving forward like this anyway. So it puts you at conflict with yourself as you, let's say, wrestle with the deep internal currents that are happening when those energies of ambivalence become like the two big balls at the end of your balancing stick. If that's the balancing stick, and you realize you have to figure this out. You have to bring this energy into harmony with this energy, as much as you might not want to. You might feel, I have to prove it. It always works this way for me. And then you realize, oh, it doesn't work that way, because it can't, because it's not in full compliance with the laws of nature. So you have to recalibrate and go this way in order to find harmony and balance in the middle, in order to keep going forward in your evolutionary path. So it's like it's the equivalent of you on the tightrope wire getting to the point where you're sort of stressed out and going, holy bleep. Holy bleep, you start cussing yourself, swearing at yourself, swearing at anyone and anything that sets you off of balance. But you keep going anyway. It's just that it feels like a lot of static, when you're actually getting to those points where you're fracturing. You're like, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can make it. But of course you're going to make it, because you've got this. Okay, you are going to make it. That's not the issue. But it's like you're getting pushed to the limits of your ability to transform and evolve in order for yourself to come into your new power. But that's okay, because we all meet those points in ourselves anyway. You just happen to be going through it right now, Libra. Okay, so don't worry. We got your back. It's just 1 month report. It's just a general broad energy report. I'll put this over here for you. Reinterpret however you want to suit yourself. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, and maybe it'll make more sense. Okay, Libra? Thanks so much for visiting. Bye-bye.